Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Endless Celts Podcast. And it seems to be a running theme at the minute, a duo on a Friday. We're sticking with it. The deadly duo is back again. How are you, Franny?
All good. It's Friday night, Stephen. We're here to talk about Celtic. I'm going to the game tomorrow, so I'm happy.
You're going to the game, but you're sitting with the wee prawn sandwiches and the hors
I'm
d'oeuvres.
sitting with the big cheese.
Get the suit on. Friday night.
I got on this podcast for this carry on. I'm not here to be a peasant and buy a season ticket. I want the hospitality kid.
You're the only person who gets hospitality deals. None of the rest of us have. Like, to be fair, Friday night, I'm sitting on the tee. I don't know what's wrong with my throat. It feels like fucking rough as a carpet. Like it's bad crack. What's that wee water? That's a funky water bottle. It's very nice.
Tenner for Amazon.
Tenner for a water bottle. Your life's wasted. Tenner for a water bottle. Too much money, man. Too much money. But I mean, to be fair, I'll take a sip here. Let's start with last week. We'll just do a quick recap. You have all spoke about it already, but obviously
sponsors, no.
Oh, let's see. I need to be kept right. Our show sponsor, Sharna, 10% off. Description below. Get in about it. Summer range, whatever you want. There's lovely t-shirts, beanie hats, fucking whatever. Just get involved with it. They're good to us, and hopefully we'll have some kind of collaboration with them coming into the new season for some merchandise and stuff like that. So that's something we're looking forward to. But starting with last week, Franny, I mean, terrible result. I was busting my balls to get on when you were on Monday, literally, because there were so much things. It just felt like it was left out. But a week on, how do you feel looking back at it?
And I suppose we've had time to reflect a bit, Stephen, a wee bit more, dust settled big time. But performance wasn't great, result not great. But like we were saying on Monday, if you're going to ever lose a derby match, lose one in terms of the league, in terms of the season, is absolutely irrelevant. Yeah, the narrative kind of changed. We all knew that if that would happen, if they got the result they got, they would try and spin it and stuff is something else. But we had some changes. The stand-ins didn't really stand out, I don't think. So it's not concerning or anything like that. I'm not concerned. It was just a really disappointment. Not making any excuses. Total disappointment. Day at the office. Nobody. I think Carl Starfelt maybe was okay. Thought he was all right. Ralston maybe didn't have his greatest game, but I didn't think he was rotten. McGregor, I think, had a poor game for his standards anyway, and I just named it really. Jota, I thought was okay. I thought he was decent, but not when you've only got maybe two players turning up. You can't expect a positive result. So it was poor day at the office. Stephen got what we deserved, but in the grand scheme of things, it's no disaster. It's nothing to really be too concerned about.
I mean, to be fair, like on the grand scheme of things, you're right in terms of obviously the league title and stuff is wrapped up, but it was. I thought we were abysmal, man. From starting 11, every player, maybe Starfelt, he saved us on a few occasions, especially kind of combating Sakala's pace. I know him and McGregor out felt for the last goal, but obviously we're not going to go over it too much and quite in depth. You've done that Monday. A lot of Celtic content has covered it in great depth. I just don't go along with the narrative that it was a meaningless game and people can kind of
certainly no meaningless. Certainly no meaningless.
People but you see online people writing it off, saying that even Paul, everything's been it's like you said, the league title's been wrapped up, and we need to win these games. And going into it, I was quite confident. I seen the lineup, and to be honest, I was confident we're going to come on the squad depth in a second. But I think what you said was right. There was too many players just had an off day, and I think it's been coming for me. Do you know what I mean? We haven't turned up properly against them in probably the last 4 games, 5 if you include that one we got beaten. And maybe the writing was on the wall. Maybe just in hindsight, you look back on it, it's what we needed in terms of we kicked on. We kicked on after the Mirren result. We went on a great run. Could we possibly kick on again, get into the next season, go on a great run again? And it's just Paul, but that fucking put me off big time there with that cover comment. But it's just I'm looking at it and people are saying Rangers have laid down a marker. I'm in a kitchen, location unknown. But I don't buy into that narrative at all because I've seen John Hartson actually nailed it perfectly. All our squads are going to be different. They're going to look different next season. We're going to look different next season. So to say that they've managed to get some psychological boost by that fixture is, for me, it's meaningless, and it's not. I know the whole bragging right thing that Ailey Barber spoke about. It's just shambles. That was probably the worst statement I ever heard anyone in punditry come away with. And if you're biased or not biased, and that's not saying she is for a second, but definitely the wrong choice of words on her front. And I just think that Michael Beale got lucky, the way he called Postecoglou lucky. He rolled with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what happened. And we got kind of humbled, to be fair. There could have been 4, 5, or 6, in my opinion. We didn't offer anything.
There was a chance. I mean, apart from O's chance and Abada's chance, I don't remember us really creating in it.
I seen Ross put in the chat before we come on, Yakimakis with the chip, and O tried the chip against Ross McCrory and hit the post. And Yakimakis,
for me, he was unlucky. He was unlucky, but I think there's a fair argument we're missing Yakimakis in. I don't. I mean, we've wrapped up the league, but I'm not. Yeah. I think O will be a player. I think there's a player in there, but right now, I would not like. I appreciate it's at the end of the season, but can you imagine earlier on if we found ourselves in the same situation as we did last season where Kyogo was injured pretty well? Don't know if I could trust O for that period of time, but you never know. A length of games, a run of games could be doing him the power of good, but I don't know.
I think the one thing you have to remember is he's fucking 20, 21 or something.
21,
21. Coming from the South Korean league and stuff, and
a year and a half out, be doing his national service as well. So
so he's a lot to learn about football. I do believe there's a player in there, and I just think that fucking people writing them off far too soon. We're going to come on to the squad depth now, but let's speak about a few individuals that you spoke about on Monday that some I didn't agree with, and you've seen that obviously the back four was changed apart from Starfelt. Kobayashi came in, Burnaby came in, Ralston. Obviously Ralston's enforced and Kobayashi's enforced, but then you bring Burnaby and stuff into that mix. But we'll start with the back four. What did you make? What have you actually made of Burnaby so far in a Celtic shirt?
Terrible, mate. Honestly, I don't know how. An absolute field winger. Absolute field winger. That's what he looks like. Well, am I willing to give him a chance? Probably. But I'm also cautious to how much I stuck up for Barkas, and I don't. If anybody dares to go back to the COVID season and listen to some of the podcasts, they'll know me and you stuck by Barkas for a hell of a lot. So nobody can come at me and say I'm writing Burnaby off straight off the bat, because if you look at the Barkas stuff, I'm willing to stick by a guy, but I just didn't see it in Burnaby. As I said on Monday, is it because he's trying to learn the inverted fullback role? Could be. I'm willing to cut him some slack there. He's came over for a new continent. Again, willing to cut him a wee bit slack there. But I just think you look at, again, stats can be sort of as the Jack Grealish comment chat was last night, it's stats can be suited to an argument, but he gave the ball
Don't get me started, Jack Grealish.
He gave the ball away 28 times last week. That's amazing that you can actually do that in a game of football. I think get away that many times. Where
did you pull that stat from?
I've heard it in another podcast, mate. Heard it in another podcast. So I'm not claiming it as my own, but I've heard it a couple of times that he apparently gave the ball away 28 times in the game. That can't be like that's a mad stat that you can get away. Maybe I'm willing. Would I be surprised if Ange goes and gets something in the summer? Aye, simply because it was the best part of 4 million for him. But equally, to sort of counter that, as I said on Monday, do I think Ange's got a sentimental side to it? No, because you look at Tom Rogic, you look at near beat on. He punted him away after, well, certainly Rogic after he had one of his best, if not his best season in a Celtic jersey. So I don't think sentiment's there. I think if Ange wants to get rid of somebody, he'll get rid of him. But I'm willing to. I think I would give him until next January and see if he's managed to force his way in. But right now, if we do punt him in the summer, I am not going to be too bothered. But if Ange says, if obviously he's not going to come out publicly, but if they're wanting to give him till the January and give him a chance, then fair enough. But I'm struggling to find a player in Burnaby, I'll be honest with you. Maybe it's a winger. Maybe it's a winger. Aye, but apart from that,
Maybe it could
as a
be
defender.
maybe he could be our penalty kick taker and try and say he scored a bar load of goals like a certain Tavernier across the city. No defensive attributes that guy at all.
Well, that's
But
it.
Michael McDonald,
We sit and slate that guy going back the way, but
yeah,
folk will try to
no, I
give him
get
a bit of
it.
chance.
In terms of Michael McDonald here, the Carter Vickers, you can see the big, massive hole that he leaves in the defence. And Phil McGinley, pretty much 1 in every 4 touches he had resulted in him losing the ball. 28 losses of possession from 100 attempted passes. I'm guessing it was from the Boise bus. You got this? But I look at it, and for me, like Burnaby, I don't understand why we would pay £3.5–4 million from a left back from Lanús in Argentina. He was a regular for them. All their fan base loved him, and I've seen all the posts and all when he was leaving, getting wished the best of luck. Obviously, all their fans wanted him to stay. I just think for Burnaby, he's unsettled. He's had a birth of a baby. There's been trouble with obviously being in prison for one night for drink driving. So off the field matters might be hampering what's going on the field. I believe in when he actually does something good, it really does. It pays off when he runs with the ball. Sometimes he gets by 2 or 3 players. And defensively, I agree. There's still a lot to improve on. But the goal, for example, he took up in Dingwall, I thought it was a cracking strike with his left foot. And it's just a shame for me because Greg Taylor has that nailed down. That position's his. And I said this to you as well in the chat. I like Burnaby, but just for now, Greg Taylor's he's miles above him.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a mistake. If Ange looks back at the game, should he have started Greg Taylor? Me personally, I wouldn't have because he's been carrying an injury of some sort for weeks. And if you're going to aggravate that into a cup final, even though it's against Inverness, you still want your best 11 available. Another player who I thought was the worst was Yuki Kobayashi. I thought a lot of the blame was just directed to Burnaby. It's a bit like me with Moy. It's just fucking free shit at him. And Kobayashi for me was terrible. Terrible. He was terrible against Hearts. He was equally as bad against Rangers. For the first goal, for example, I mean, he looks behind him like this, and fucking Cantwell's running past him instead of being on his toes, ready to get that ball. And I know I didn't like what Joe Hart did, but he's covered that pretty well Monday. Do you think we can see? And people were saying Kobayashi is going to be partnering Carter Vickers next season. That's what Ange wants. On the basis of his last 2 games, I would be really, really fucking petrified if I'm getting into a season with Kobayashi and Vickers as our centre half pairing. Like,
I probably wouldn't be terrified simply because I think Carter Vickers is like who was it who said it? It was Michael McDonald. That Carter Vickers is massive. Not to take anything away from Starfelt, because I thought Starfelt actually played, as I said, played decent last week, and I think he was unfairly exposed a wee bit with Kobayashi and Burnaby and Ralston to an extent as well. I think it was just not hung out to dry is the right term, but it had a tough afternoon trying to cover for the rest of the day for at the back. And like you just need to look at the domestic stat that Carter Vickers and Starfelt playing together have never lost a domestic game together, or certainly in the league anyway. So for me, I can't see how you can put a fair argument across, providing you come start the next season, everybody's fit and healthy, and you've got Carter Vickers in, and your other option is Kobayashi and Starfelt. Now, I think Kobayashi, he's shown good moments. I think he's got a good range of passing. He did get the ball away a wee bit, but I think you can see his confidence on the ball and his confidence to look for a pass. It definitely needs to get stronger. But if you're starting first game next season, opening day, and you've got Starfelt and Kobayashi to pick for, and you pick, not saying Ange, but any Celtic fan turns around and says you're picking Kobayashi, it's absolute madness. And that's not just based on the Rangers game. That's just, you've got to just look at it and go, Starfelt is actually really good, and they two together are brilliant. You can't make a logical argument for starting Kobayashi instead of Starfelt for me.
Starfelt saved us a lot against Rangers on the weekend. I mean, it would have been far worse without him in that back four. I think with Kobayashi, and again, you don't want to go over old ground, but Jens, do you know what I mean?
By the way, I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah. Do you think Jens is better than Kobayashi?
On what I've seen, aye.
I would agree. Because initially, when Kobayashi came in, I could see what Postecoglou was wanting there. Do you know what I mean? Playing the ball with the left foot so he could
It's
cut.
definitely a lot comfier in there than Starfelt. You can see it. But
Well, that's because obviously the foot position. Do you know what I mean? It's
exactly. But I'm picking Starfelt every day of the week ahead of him.
a hundred times over. Like
But again,
it's for
he
me.
might come good
For me,
after a good pre-season
Kobe,
under his belt.
aye. For me, Kobayashi's just fucking. I mean, what was that saying? He's always say over in Scotland. Kevin Kyle always says it. John Suter from about like a wet trackie. He just
Oh,
he put his arm out and fucking and it was embarrassing. I mean, John Suter's coming back from a fucking ACL injury. I had him out for nearly 2 years, and he made that look easy. For me, Kobayashi should be full of aggression, full of fucking fight and passion, and will to get there. But I want to come to the comments here as well. Mark Nugent, Alan says he doesn't hold the players to account for trying things. He digs them up for not risking failure to get success. Sometimes you take a risk. Hatate does this too, but greater success rate. Yeah, I get that. I mean, Joe Hart,
especially with Hatate.
Joe Hart said that a few times. Red Skelton makes a decision to let Julian go seem ridiculous. The big man was one of the best at the club. Come on, I don't know. I think Julian's time was up. Well, I mean, he was one out the door. He was part of that catastrophe was seen in that season. But we'll go to another one, just to kind of round off the back four. Anthony Ralston, for me, he looked all the Scottish journeyman that I've ever seen before when he played for St Johnstone, Dundee United. See when your man Matondo ran at him, I thought Ralston was going to shite himself every time. He was so uncomposed. He gave the ball away more or less every time, like Burnaby. And I know we always say that our squad depth is great, and you could bring these players off the bench and it doesn't look any different. But I think we all need our eyes tested if we really believe that if we start with that back four, just doesn't in a hypothetical sense next season we're gonna keep clean sheets, we're gonna perform defensive miracles. I just don't see it with that. Like,
well, I suppose you could make the argument to totally flip it. If they're playing regularly together, they build up an understanding and they may become a solid unit, or a more solid unit. But I certainly wouldn't be picking that for opening day next season. That back four, Ralston, I think it's fair to say he's surprised a lot of us since Ange came in. He's really rose to the occasion. Is he a world beater? No. Is he ever going to be one? No. But
no.
I think I don't want to keep guys there just for the sake of filling up a quota, but I think the Scottish sort of homegrown talent thing needs to be taken into consideration with the squad. And Ralston isn't a bad option for that. He's a good Johnson. I know he's out injured. I don't know his past or anything. I'm not going to pretend to know. I'd seen a minute of him play before the World Cup, but it doesn't come across as a type of player that's going to be injury prone. So I don't think you're really going to need Ralston too much. So I think he's a steady replacement, and we know he can perform. We've seen his assists last season. He's got it in him. It was a bad day though. He hadn't played as much last season. He was playing a wee bit more regular. Maybe it shows that he's the type that he can't just come in at the cold and play a game. I know he'd had a couple of games, but he maybe is one that needs a few to get up to speed.
But you can say that about most of them then.
I know you can say that about most of them.
Do you know what I mean?
It's an argument you can make about anybody coming in. It's a fair argument, but at the same time, you can only call it as you see it.
What do you think then? We're spoken about the back four, so effectively, we're looking then to sign a left back, a centre back, and a right back.
Nah, I would argue a left back, and that would be like without getting controversial. I would argue a left back to replace Taylor.
Oh, man, I'm with you in that argument all the time. I think we can do far better than Greg Taylor, but people will probably jump on us for saying that. We all love Greg Taylor. We're not saying that he needs to be replaced straight away. But the way I'm coming across this is we're talking about squad depth, yeah? Mm-hmm. We've all agreed, basically, that Kobayashi doesn't really cut it for the starting 11. Ralston the same, Burnaby the same. So if we're getting into European competition next season, surely we need better.
I know. I think that's a fair argument, I think it's a fair argument, Stephen.
I mean, that's the way I'm coming across it. Burnaby to me...
I think Ross made a good point in saying that maybe the squad depth, I can't remember what he said word for word, so apologies if I didn't get him properly right, but he said
Misquote him.
I know, chuck him under the bus. I think he said something along the lines of maybe our squad depth was shown that it's good when it's coming on in the 60th minute when a team's maybe a wee bit tired. The standard, the drop off's not massive, but the quality is enough there to keep the performance to a really good standard, something along the lines. And I think that's a fair argument. Maybe when you see these guys coming in for the start, then maybe just that's when you do see the drop off a bit. It's the drop off's maybe more exposed as opposed to making 2 or 3 changes in the 60th minute, then another couple in 75 when the opposition team generally in Scotland will not have the same calibre player, far from it, coming off the bench. And like, not to say your Hacks of Ivanovic, your Earls and that are bad players, but they maybe the fact that a team's tired maybe makes them look better than they actually are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100% what you're saying. Red Scotland, we need pace and power down the left, other than just Maida, new left back at JJ's level at least. Yeah, I think you notice when Maida's not in the team, you lose that that does fucking fuel down the left hand side. You know what I mean? It really dropped off against them on Saturday, sorry. And then if you look at the forward three, we talked about let's talk about the other guy come in, Abada. I just don't know what's going on here with this guy. I really don't understand
Again, he's
why.
coming for the call, but
and yeah, he's come in from the cold 100%, but he just is he leaving? Is he staying? There's all these rumours. He changed agent, the same as Juranovic at the start of the season. Is it a power play? Is he wanting that move to England or whatever, Bundesliga, Serie A? Can you see him being here next season?
I can, and before it sounded like sour grapes as well, I wouldn't really be bothered if he left. If that sounds mad.
Yeah.
When
I
agree.
I agree.
When you consider his numbers, I think there is a player in there, but we always went back to this. If somebody doesn't want to be there, then they can go. But going by his latest interview, it seems like he does want to stay. So he's not one I would rush out the door. But equally, it's one if you get. I know there's been figures like 10 million bandied about. I would seriously accept 10 million. I'd be taking 10 million because I think you could do. If you go to the Jota, I say the Jota level, but the Jota level in terms of money, I think you're getting a better player than Abada in there.
100%. Abada for me goes missing a lot. And if he's not scoring, he's really.
Again, Ross has said it plenty of times, and I've argued against it, thinking, nah, he turns up in these games, but he only turns up he only seems to turn up at Parkhead.
It's like when he's not scoring, he's really ineffective for me. He's not
bad sometimes, eh?
He's not a great dribbler. He's not good at taking players on. I love when he goes in the back post. That's his best kind of role for me in the team. But other than that, sometimes he just hides. And Red Scotland, I think a little reality check with some of them, and that's why Anne's picked that side at Ibrox. He knows where to strengthen. I reckon we need a striker who can threaten Kugel's spot. Now, on that, we obviously discussed Owen Yakimakis. Do you think that's viable? Do you think we need a ready-made striker to come in and fight for Kugel's position, or is it the case where Postecoglou signed as a project player and he's going to bide his time and maybe learn from Kyogo and eventually take over from him?
I would, regardless, I would like a striker anyway. Another one in, whether that be
Nisbet.
No, because I don't want anybody in like Scott Bain that's just here to be a number. And I think Nisbet would be that guy, would come in and happily be third choice behind O. And I didn't want that. I think that it's not a good mentality to have. I think everybody should come in, want to be first team, want to be. I think if we really wanted to, we could go and get better than Kyogo. You could go and get better than everybody in the team if you really wanted to.
But see that argument, it has to be realistic. I mean,
it has to be realistic.
Yeah, like, because you can
say, like for argument's sake, we could get better than Kyogo. We could get better than Gregor. We know we could get better than him, but realistically, you've got to be realistic. Money talks, but also Kyogo is brilliant for this team, and it's a perfect player for this team. I feel absolutely perfect for this team. Do I think Ange will go and get a striker to challenge Kyogo? I really didn't know, because for me that wouldn't have made sense to get rid of Giacomakis, and unless he's just said, look, I'm not willing to be second fiddle here. And in fairness, I think we're all folk might say different. And when you look at Giacomakis' appearances, that he had ample chances, but if you actually look at the appearances compared to the minutes he's played, that's not a lot. He was getting on for 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. That's no good for anybody. So I would be surprised if he goes and gets a striker, simply because I think there's a player I know. I really do think there could be a wee bit of a special player, and it's very raw. I do appreciate that. Very raw at times. Like 1 minute he could do something totally amazing, next minute he can do something totally horrendous. But Kyogo is clearly Ange's guy, so I don't see him going out spending it, because to be fair, unless you're getting lucky, I don't think you're getting somebody like, I think what Kyogo was 4 or 5 million. I think it was
4.5.
I think you've got to be really lucky again to get a player. There's no point getting a player of Kyogo's level, because then you're not improving then. But I think you're going to have to be really intelligent, really smart to get a better player than Kyogo for 4.5 million. I think you're going to have to spend maybe money that Celtic currently willing to spend, like 10 to 15 million, to guarantee you're getting a better striker than Kyogo. Because as much as I would like us to bring in another third striker and say it's to challenge Kyogo, I think you're having to be smart with who you buy, and it's maybe another, not an O-type player, but a projected type of player, a younger lad, because I don't think an established guy like your Giacomakis or Kyogo has got to come in knowing they're essentially not going to be guaranteed first team football.
True, yeah. It's a hard one, because we all love Kyogo.
Yeah,
we all fucking. He's the sweetheart of the team. Like, he's Ange Postecoglou's boy, and he's just a fantastic player. And but part of me, like you, if we can afford to spend that money to get better, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm kind of done with being sentimental towards players and hoping they don't leave. I want to get used to the feeling of our star players leaving and us replacing them with even better.
I suppose you could potentially argue whether it would happen, but you go and spend a decent fee and buy a guy that turns out is better than Kyogo, way better, brilliant for the team, banging them in. Do you then argue you're improving your squad depth then, because Kyogo's your second choice?
Well, I mean, yeah, you could.
Second choice is better than all.
Yeah, your second choice. Like I said at the Anfield before we were doing a podcast, if it comes to the point where our first team players this season become squad team players, that's a good scenario to be in, because we're getting better than we have in the starting 11. I think a lot of transfer windows Celtic go into just to beef out the squad or get players similar to the players we have. But I think Postecoglou said at one of his interviews recently that he wants to get players to bring us on to a different level. And I believe him. I don't think he's going to go for the normal player or go back into Japan for a £1 million player. I think he's looking to broaden his horizons and get someone in who could challenge straight away, maybe take the shirt off somebody straight away. And that's the way we have to be looking, especially I've seen Cal McGregor say we could get the European final on their hands. Only way we're going to do that. I mean, if you watch the Man City game against Real Madrid, the only way we're going to do that if we start signing better players. That's the only way we're going to make an impact in European football. Chris D comes in. Good morning, gents. Abada's out the door. I believe our best player next season isn't even playing for us yet. Be interested to who you think it is, Chris, to be honest. Mark Nugent, I think whether or not O is a player, we need a first striker. I've banged on about this since Hans arrived. Every time we've dropped points that first season, it was to do with the striker situation. We were kind of Abada made it for the middle of times. Chris D, O needs a pre-season and we can truly judge him. Yeah, 100% agree with that. In terms of transfer budgets and rumours, and obviously the rumour mill goes wild, the picture of the week everyone's talking about is Dermot Desmond was spotted quite photo opportunistic in the doorway of Celtic Park. Someone's always even planted there to take that photo. I think it was Mark Kearney said that, and 100% I'm with him on that
100% agree.
But what do you think he was there to discuss? I mean, if you're being funny about it, we've seen today Postecoglou's put his house on the sale in Australia, but he hasn't been to Australia in years because he's been in Japan and different countries like that. So you can't maybe look into that. Is it transfer budgets? What I mean, he's not going to be there for no reason. So to get Desmond at Celtic Park, it must be something serious, so to speak.
Well, Scott Payne got a new deal, so
fuck, don't man, don't.
But no, I'll be honest. I think Mark Kearney. If anybody hasn't watched that, go and watch even just the first 10 minutes of the Bhoys bus last night, because I think he nails it brilliantly. I think it's a lot. It is a lot of nothing of nothing. Like, for Ange's contract, he doesn't need to be there for that. For any transfer dealings, doesn't need to be there for that. Like, he doesn't sign off on the deals. He's a majority shareholder. He doesn't own Celtic. We're self-sufficient. We've got to take proposals to our board before we do it. So I'll obviously have a say on transfer budget, but it's not his money at the end of the day. He's part of the board. I don't think he's over for no reason. There obviously is something he's over. It could be some other business he's over for, and thought, well, I have a free time. Without knowing the levels of his business and what he's into and stuff, he's maybe had some free time. He thought, well, I'm planning on coming over to Britain. I can maybe get a couple of days earlier. We'll meet up with Ange. I'll go and see Celtic, see how things are going.
Apparently, Postecoglou's bought a beach house property in Melbourne now, so you can scrap that rumour then. Shove that in the China.
He's away back to Australia to manage.
He's away back. The Brisbane Roar. He's gone back to Brisbane Roar.
So I honestly didn't think we can read too much into it. It's like Mark Kennedy says, well, somebody's been allowed to post that picture, somebody's been allowed to take that picture. I don't think it's a bad move. Is it a publicity stunt? Certainly not a publicity stunt, but there will be a wee thought into the whole meeting and where the picture was taken. Obviously, it's probably been agreed that it's maybe like a sort of end of season review. I don't know. You might even look back to last season and round about a similar time. There might be a similar picture comes out. It was about where Desmond came back over. I don't think I think it would probably be over every season at least a couple times. Certainly at the end, as a sort of end of season review. Where are we? Where are we going? What's the plans for next season? And see if he's on board with it. So, and maybe obviously like things like the COVID season when things weren't going well, it's not really what it doesn't look. He's no one. He will look good when Celtic are doing good. So if Celtic are doing well, like the other day, spending a bit of money as well, a majority shareholder will be a wee bit front and centre in that. Maybe want to be a wee bit. It's not going to get the backlash. So it could be a wee publicity stunt for him in the sense that getting a wee bit good vibes, and then obviously say we do get this big massive transfer budget. It all looks good. He was there sorting that out, but I'm not reading too much into it, Stephen. I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's. If they're getting Ange a new deal, great. And then, as I say, I don't think he needs to be there to do that. But it wouldn't be a bad move for him if he's over here and then he's getting pictured with Ange signing a new deal. It just makes him look good.
I think we're all in love with the idea of Desmond going, look, here's a big wad of cash.
Yes, but it can't.
Doesn't matter. It can't happen like that because FFP rules, and you have to spend what you bring in and profit margins, net profits, gross profits, all that type of stuff. And it's all for me like. Desmond's been involved in the Celtic since late 90s, that type of time, and maybe one time he's actually pumped his own money into the club, and that was probably during O'Neill's run. Ever since that, he's rarely been involved. He's rarely made appearances. When things get tough, he's never there. The COVID season,
I'd argue against that because when things got tough, he brought in Robbie Keane. When things got tough, he brought Brendan Rodgers.
No, but I mean, front and facing though, Franny. Do I mean he's never really? I know he's the majority shareholder, and I know what you're saying. But the way I'm looking at it is as a leader for Celtic, really, he's been non-existent. I know he brought in Rodgers, but then he let the man who brought back Lowell undermine Rodgers in the transfer market. So you can say he done it, but he kind of counteracted it with a negative move. And yeah, I mean, I think about it a lot. I mean, I was reading the Irish Rich list today, got published. He's £2.2 billion, this man's worth. And you're going, Desi, come here, you. Gets a couple of 100 million into the coffers, like, you know what I mean? He could do it, no problem, but it's never going to happen. It's the way you nailed it perfectly. We're self-run. We make our own money. We bring our own money in. We survive on that money. It's the model we've been doing for years. And do you expect us to maybe spend 6-7 million on 2 or 3 players in the summer? Yeah, but that doesn't mean we're going to have a £50 million war chest and unlimited funds for January coming. So,
but I don't think we need that. Because how would you like? I don't. I don't think we need wholesale changes. I think
Just
maybe
tweaks.
I'd be happy with 2 or 3 guys coming in, but 2 or 3 guys of the level of your Jotas and Carter Vickers, but go and be in that.
Ren Scotland's right.
So we win.
I've sat in that.
It's easy to say that when I'm in a living room and you're in your kitchen. It's easy to say that when we're.
I know that's true, but again, like you look at it. I remember the Partick Thistle supporter won the lottery, and he pumped like £60 million into the Reef Academy and stuff. So people do it. So, I mean, people. It's love the club the well, but I don't. I mean, if I had £2 billion, mate, I'd be rocking about. Like I'd be unbelievable.
Mate, if I had £2 billion, I'd probably be in the fancy seats at Mandamora every week.
You'd be up there with a wee prawn sandwich. You would just
every week.
Away, like.
That's how I'd be pumping my money into Celtic.
But speaking of it, you mentioned Scott Bain, right? And we look at Monty here. Always thought Scott Bain was a decent back goalkeeper, and he obviously enjoys playing his part in success. Maybe show the guy some support and respect. How faithful he is to the club. Let's be fair, Monty. He's getting paid to sit in the bench, but they done it quite sneakily, didn't they?
Aye.
Because we were talking about Jack Grealish last night, and Willie slipped in and was like, "Oh, they offered Scott Bain a new deal," but we all thought he was talking shit. we didn't actually know until we actually went and looked. But 3-year contract for the big man. I mean, it's for me. If you're going to get paid £9,000-10,000 a week, you're taking that every week on a Sunday, like, but. What do you think about Scott Bain? Do you think he's shown a lack of ambition by not going to a club to play him, or do you think he's just ready, set to be our third choice for the foreseeable?
I think it shows that he's ready to be for. He's accepted his position in the squad, and I think I didn't want players like that, but equally I was saying I want a third choice striker, and so I think us as fans we contradict ourselves a lot. We get caught up. Like you need guys like Bain at your club. Again, if it fills up, like I hate it, but it fills up a position that you need to fill up in the sense of European team. It fills up a position in that quota. But I don't think we should be signing players for that quota. But you need guys there. You can't
need the quota.
You need the quota. So you can't say on one hand guys shouldn't be getting deals because of the quota, but then you need that quota. So it's probably easier to give Scott Bain a new contract than go and try and spend money on a guy to just fill up a quota. So it's what I'm not arsed about it, but at the same time, I understand it, but I just didn't see it. Like Scott Bain, he's had good moments. I mean, he's actually, what I've seen him, he's absolutely superb with the ball at his feet, he's
wasn't he? He was first choice, wasn't he, for a while under Rodgers? I think the second season.
It was for a wee bit. He made his debut against Rangers in the 3-2 game.
Played in the Mestalla against Valencia.
The 3-2 game, and he was really good in that. But I mean, this is a guy that signed for us wearing the Hibs training gear. I mean, it's madness.
It's a bit embarrassing.
It's amateur hour, but I didn't get I understand the Scott Bain signing, but I agree with it, probably no. But at the end of the day, like we need a number 3 goalie. We need backup. He's clearly happy to be that. He's not the worst choice in the world. He's really probably got to be needed even in the cup games. So he's
probably never going to be needed.
I know, and I doubt he's commanding too high a wage, so it's probably a cheap option. And
a very cheap option.
For a business sense, it makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, if he's there and he's going to take the contract, I mean, and you can spend the money on a third keeper, then by all means do it. Monty, again, Stephen, if you had £2 billion, you could buy a razor, shave that fucking beard off. How about you show your face, Monty? And we'll see. I love my beard. I get told to shave it off all the time, but I genuinely do like it. But James McGorry comes in. What's happened to Segrist?
I don't think fancies him like.
I don't either, mate. He's come in and then he was injured. He was going on holiday with his missus, posting it all around Instagram. Apparently he's been fit since March. Do you think he's a goner? Do you think he's just rub your hands and let him go?
I think if we get money for him, he's off.
Back to Dundee United or something.
I think Ange's seen enough, maybe. I talk pish all the time, Monty. Don't worry about it, kid.
Monty's ruthless, like.
I know. But I just, again, Seagrass a good goalkeeper, but I just think Ange's seen enough that he's not. Doesn't think he's got even chance because, like he's not been on the bench.
No, Scott Baines kind of took that void. Maybe, just maybe, they're paving the way for Joe Hart to be number 2 next season, and we get a wee upgrade. Get
Scott Bain is number
we
one.
get a wee upgrade in Joe Hart. Let's see here. Mark Nugent. As fans, we can be guilty if they aren't in our first place in their possession. They're shite, but it just means the guy in front is a bit better. Yeah, I mean, we agree. I think Scott Bain does a job. Do you know what I mean? Scott Bain just fills that void, like the Scott Carson, Ben Foster type goalkeeper, to be the backup and be the third choice that he's going to be going forward. But we'll take a look at some of the lone players coming back. We'll speak about squad depth, right? You look like me, mate. Same Aries and dark hair, Stephen. Keep the beard. Yes! But we'll group these together while there's dogs going mental out the back. We'll start with the first group. Barkas, Albion, Ayadi, and Sorrow. Take it away, Franny. Is any of them got a future at our club?
Nah.
Just plain no.
Nah, plain no. I mean, I feel for Barkas. I love the boy. Don't know why, but I loved him.
We did love him, didn't we?
We championed the guy, Stephen. It was the underdog story, but it didn't hear the movie ending that what happens in Hollywood. Like, the guy just, he was fucking rank rotten. And Patrick McLaughlin, sell. Although, I've not been lucky with the coupons this season, so I would maybe keep Sorrow and get the bookings back in. Obviously, bet responsibly. Put Sorrow on for a booking. Put Sorrow on for a booking.
Put Barkas on for hologram hands. I think remember Sorrow and Turnbull were like the bright spark of the COVID season, and we're all going fuck.
But then,
we'll build a midfield around.
John actually nailed it properly. We were just that bad at the time. I mean, Turnbull's a good player. Turnbull's a good player, but we were just that bad. We thought Sorrow was a player. Sorrow
done what none of our players would do, and that was run. We've never seen a player run and have a smile on his face before. Sorrow just done that. But I look at Barkas, and when your goalkeeper said he trained to be a left back, there's still a wee bit wrong. There's something going wrong. And I know he's doing well in Utrecht and Holland, and they want to keep him, but finances might dictate that they can't.
The guy could turn out to be a great keeper. Could be. He clearly was a good keeper before he came in. He's clearly done something, but the guys, he said he wouldn't recommend anybody to Celtic.
That's because
why would you want him back? Like, the guy. Yeah. I appreciate, obviously, it was during COVID. There was obviously restrictions there that you don't know how it affected his mental health. Couldn't socialise with the players and stuff. But nah, I mean, I'm a fan of Joe Hart, but no chance of my having Barkas back.
I think in a way, in his interview, he done an interview recently about coming back to Celtic. And do you remember Lenny said in the PLZ soccer interview that there was someone else that breached the COVID rules and went back to wherever they were? He said during that season he fucked off back to Holland. So he could have been the second player that was in that deep water with Lenny at the time. And Mark Nugent, Sorrow needs to be more disciplined, decent, just Ras. Look, I get what you mean. Sorrow to me can be a great ball winning midfielder, but it's just his inability to do a tackle right or just do anything right.
Inability to play football.
Maybe a bit harsh, Fanny. He's all right, to be fair. He made a better impact than the Addy and Barkas. Do you know what I mean? But we'll kind of sell, right?
He played all right. He played all right for about 8 games.
Well, mate, remember the time? Was it against Dundee United? He had to run like 2 yards and didn't even bother. The next 3, Liam Scales, Mikey Johnson, or Johnny Kenny. So Johnny Kenny's a striker, young Irishman. They're all Irish here. Mikey Johnson over in Portugal on loan. Liam Scales scored that wonder goal against Rangers. Any of them for you?
Nah, I think Scales is, by all accounts, has played all right at Aberdeen, but he's never featured. He's never been part of Ange's plans for the 2 years he's been here. Johnny Kenny again, never. I know he was brought in, but that was, although we've said that Dermot Desmond doesn't sign anybody, that had Dermot Desmond or at site, that type of signing coming in, and a boy off an Irish team and stuff. And again, was brought in for the B squad and has then been punted out on loan. I just didn't see a future for him. Mikey Johnson, I'm sorry, I think there's a player in there somewhere, but I just didn't. If you're I know we're talking about maybe Abada leaving, but Mikey Johnson for me isn't an improvement on Abada. On days he might look a lot better than Abada, but he's no. And even like if you're taking Abada out of that team, our options out wide are James Forrest, Haksabanovic, Maeda, and Jota, and I'm not putting Mikey Johnson ahead of any of them. So I'd get rid of them as well.
Yeah, I mean, with Mikey Johnson, every time I see him play for his Portuguese club, they're raving about him. They're putting up Twitter posts about him, saying he's a star, and then he came on for the Irish.
Maybe just needed to get away.
Yeah, he came on for the Irish national team, and he hit the bar for them and stuff, and he was getting in decent positions. It's for me, what epitomised his career was when Lenny just went, "Fuck off."
I mean, I think in hindsight that was absolute terrible management for Lennon.
It was horrendous, but you probably are getting angry at someone who has chocolate ankles and doesn't like to go in for any tackles.
I know, but I think, like he says, he is injured a lot. He's, by all accounts, a Celtic fan, so I think you've got to say you're fit, and he's probably just tried to play through it, and it's not happened for him. And obviously,
no, that's true. I look at Johnny Kenny. He's a young Irishman. I would keep him. Maybe give him to the B team for a season. Liam Scales. Remember we talked. I know, but he's on loan. He's away to, I don't even know fucking who, to be honest. But Liam Scales, to me, coming in, we all thought he was going to replace Greg Taylor at one point. What were we thinking?
I know.
What were we actually thinking? And I look at it, he's a great profile for Aberdeen. That's what type of player they're looking for. So, I mean, the strong, athletic, and doesn't have it for me to cut it at Celtic. But if Barry Robson wants him at Aberdeen, boom, fair enough. Danielle comes in. Sorrow's done better for his Portuguese club than MJ. Note, good enough or not good enough, believes his own head. Yeah, there's a lot of that, to be fair, Danielle. Yeah, I think, to be fair, so far there's nobody who would take back. The list isn't getting any better, it's actually probably getting weaker. Let's have another one. Uragide, Liam Shaw, and Toby Olawami, the young goalkeeper.
Again, Uragide. Big
John loves him.
Lad. I know, big unit of lad. But I think he was a centre half. Ange only ever played him at right back, so I didn't see the point in keeping him. If you can, I would maybe keep him and try and punt him out on loan again if he's willing to stay around. But I don't. He must be about 20-21 now anyway. So whether he's he's got a big decision to make if he'd want to do that. Liam Shaw, nah. Whereas who's he in loan to now?
Morecambe or something.
So went to Motherwell, didn't really feature for them on loan. He's away to Morecambe. I don't know he's maybe featured a lot. What I will say for Liam Shaw is he's very, very unlucky. He was signed in a pre-contract by Lennon. Lennon gets punted before he's even got officially signed for the club. Or officially registered for the club. So technically officially signed. He's coming into a club where the manager that wanted him is no longer there. He's coming into what looked like a basket case of a club, but was absolutely horrendous off the back of a horrendous season. Spent the best part of 3-4 months chasing a manager that knocked us back and would signed Postecoglou. So Shaw's probably really unlucky in the fact that, I mean, Uragide probably comes under that as well, to be fair. So they two are probably really unlucky. I think they both signed in pre-contracts for Lennon. Definitely Shaw did.
Towards the last part of his
Whether Uragide was the same, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was a pre-contract as well. So they're probably guilty of a previous management system, and they just won the Ange's players. I just didn't see how they fit in. Didn't see they've been punted out on loan. I didn't, especially Shaw, been sent on loan twice. I just didn't see how he's got a future. Oluyemi, if that's how you say his name, I'd keep him. There seems to be high hopes for him. Could you maybe promote him to number 2? Is he ready for that? I don't know. Because as much as I know you would get rid of Hart, I would keep him. unless there's somebody got to come in. But I think Oluyemi is English, I believe.
Yeah.
I think he is English. So, I mean, not to sound sort of patronising or sort of stereotypical, but Joe Hart might have a lot more time for him because he's a young English lad who will want to probably see that progress, and maybe Joe Hart would help coach him through. So I would certainly so far I'm getting rid of everybody else, and I would keep the keeper.
There's a few bits of love for Liam Shaw in the comments. I remember when he came and he played pre-season, he looked quite good. And Willie, who's a part of the podcast, really liked him and thought he could be the anchor of the midfield. And I'm going to hold my judgment on Liam Shaw because I like the build of him. He's quite quick over the ground, and Danielle said it. He's athletic, and maybe, just maybe, try and give him one more chance at the first team. Try and just let him get a pre-season under his belt to see it happens. Look at Uragidi. If he had played on Saturday alongside Starfelt, would it have been any better? Probably not. I don't think so. I know he's doing well with Ostende over in Belgium. Toby Olawami, Danielle again. I've noticed this. There's a few things going around Twitter that he's had a shocker at Cork City. He's only played twice and he's been on the bench the rest of the times, but maybe that's down to age and his environment that he's in at the minute. I looked at like Donnarumma getting the chance at 18 at Milan and moving on to PSG.
He's a different level, but let's be honest.
Well, of course, he's a different level. But what I'm saying is, could he be number 2, like you said? Maybe going forward if he gets his ideas in order. The last 2 I have on the list: Adam Montgomery, the left back, which you mentioned the other day in the chat, and Ewan Otto, who was a regular for Dunfermline in their title winning season in League One in Scotland. So, Montgomery, start with, Franny. Is he better than Burnaby?
I would trust him more than Burnaby right now, but is that just a level of how much I rate Burnaby? So, again, I'd probably get rid of him. Just simply, I don't see how that's improving squad depth. Even if you said, right, we're selling Burnaby and we'll keep Montgomery instead. For me, that's not.
Would you sell Burnaby and keep Montgomery?
No, I'm saying, say we sold Burnaby and kept Montgomery. Is that improving? It's a no for me. I think he's as well as stupid as that. He's as well as sticking with Burnaby and just getting rid of what do you call him, Montgomery. Unless you can, I'd probably get rid of Montgomery as well. But I'm not asked if he goes or stays. Really, to be honest with you. And then the young boy, Otto. Maybe try and keep him on loan and maybe put him into I would try and give him an SPL team. An SPL team's got to take him at the end of the day. Like you said, they said he played in League One of the Championship there, so maybe try and see if you can progress him up, keep him. So I maybe keep him and try and put him on loan to. I don't see the point in sending him down to England and loan. I would rather him get accustomed to the league that he's playing in. So try and put him. You can't keep getting rid of the youngsters, but you can't just keep players gift or shite.
I mean, to be fair, I think out of this loan list, maybe one has a chance of coming back and doing something. Paddy McLaughlin, we could have bought just Bhoys instead of Burnaby and got rid of one of the Scottish guys we don't really need. Yeah, and he comes in again, Hickey as well. Of course. We could go over the players that we've missed out over the years. We talk about it an awful lot. Graham Bell, you can get the comment. Sell Burnaby, get another replacement, or give youth a chance. Taylor's been outstanding. So yeah, I mean, if we round off that loan list, pretty much most of the players will not be in our opinion.
There's a reason folk go on loan.
We can't. I mean, there is cases where people go on loan and come back, and Ryan Christie, for example, came back and was a fucking class player. For what?
Give me somebody else.
Ryan Christie. Why are you doing this to me, Franny?
No, why you just said there's loads of occasions where it happens.
I'm sure other clubs. I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know off the top of my mind, but I'm sure there is people that's went on loan, come back and done well for their parent club. I mean, let's have a wee look at this as well. Speaking about players who are coming back, let's speak about some ex-players, some current players who were involved in an event last night at the Hydro celebrating Scott Brown and Lustig's career at Celtic Football Club. By all accounts, the videos I've seen, I mean, we're probably the only club in the world that can sell out an arena just to say goodbye to two people. It's absolutely magical, the support sometimes. And just we talked about Brown before in regards to him not being able to say goodbye. What about Lustig, Franny? I mean, we kind of talked about him a bit, but I think he deserves a lot of recognition. And was an incredible servant. Swedish, like Mihalby, like Larson before him. And for me, he's a legend. I really think he is a legend within Celtic.
100%. did he not like win a league title every season he was here as well?
Mm.
So that tells you
Mm-hmm.
because obviously he left just at the end of just at the start of the COVID season. So
Fucking
the guys,
come on,
ah,
Mark. Up ye!
I don't know.
Up ye!
Danielle said it too. I was raging when they started coming and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I went back to the comments. I'll go, but go ahead about this thing.
The guy was a class actor. It was top player, ever consistent at right back. So many managers picked him, like even Lennon picked him, Rodgers picked him and stuff like that. Like top managers were playing him, and just can't say enough about it. He loved Celtic, loved being here. He clearly had a bit of part in all that. Like obviously,
Did you see what he said last night about Ibrox?
it was sort of a bit like he knows why we've not got the tickets and things like that. We've got party
Yeah, because we're at the ship pit.
the guy, he knows what he's up to. Like we've got that war remember PC Lustig as well and stuff. That he just hated playing against Rangers, and just, like he was a good player. Like you can be a mouthpiece like a Sakala, so to speak. Calls us lame, plays up to the gallery, but Lustig to an extent played up to the gallery, but he could back it up on the park as well, and that's the difference for me.
I think
Lustig's a superb player.
Alistair Johnson reminds me so much of him. Just how he plays and the way he gets up and down the pitch, and he could fill in centre back like Lustig did for us on many of occasions as well. And I think with what you seem to forget, I mean, we tried to replace Lustig with like Jeremy Toljan, fucking Sadie Yanko at some points come in to challenge him, and he just kind of batted away that competition like it was nothing. Even when we fought the 31, maybe he was down and out, he was still putting in performance after performance. He was just like Greg Taylor for me, Mr. Consistent. He just turned up for the games. He was great. And then Scott Brown, he said last night he couldn't have picked a better guy to share the stage with and say his goodbyes. And you look at Scott Brown now, Fleetwood love him. I mean, he's beat Joey Barton twice down there, and they're mid-table. Sean Rooney's went down and had an absolute stormer, and his management career's taken off. Learning from Lanny, learning from Rodgers, from Ronnie as well. And again, you can't underestimate the impact these people had on us and also the club. And I looked at the You Never Walk Alone last night. It was mad. I wish I was there. I wish I was there to see it. So I mean, it's just great. And you look at Cal McGregor now, the whole Scott Brown thing. He's took it on, ran with it, and Scott Brown started it all. And Cal McGregor's just running with it
after his loan spell.
After his loan spell at Notts County with Jack Grealish. So there's another one. There's another one for you. But Scott Brown to me epitomizes everything about the club. He just loved it. He rejected so many moves away, and he's come back and finally after a couple of years got to say goodbye.
It's the guys. Has he got the send off he deserves? Probably no. I think he deserves a send off at Parkhead, but maybe they can sort out maybe a wee pre-season friendly with Fleetwood and stuff like that. But at least he's got to give a better send off than he did, because I thought it is a bit an iconic picture. I think if you look at it with the one where I'm sitting in the centre circle with it, he's also got the full kit, but the boots are sitting down and stuff. It is a bit iconic in an empty stadium and stuff, but when you actually consider why that stadium was empty, it was the season that happened, and it was not the ending the guy deserved anyway. Not saying, obviously, ideal world, they've went off 10 in a row champion and stuff. There you go, because I think everything went to charity as well. I don't think it taken any, maybe taking money to sort of put the event on, but profit-wise, I don't think it taken anything. The guy deserved to leave. Obviously, in an ideal world, like I was saying, another league champion, like another league winner, lifting a trophy and leave on their terms. But at the very least, the guy deserved was to leave in a stadium full of fans that supported him for all these years, and he gave everything for Celtic. So I'd like for somehow that to happen again. Whether it can, sure the powers that we could make it happen, but obviously I appreciate he's got his own thing going at Fleetwood now, and he maybe needs to concentrate on that as opposed to try to get a proper send off for Celtic fans. I think he doesn't come across that type of guy that needs that, and I think he knows what Celtic fans mean to him and what he means to Celtic fans.
Yeah, I think as well, you look at it, I mean, Charlie Mulgrew got stick from Dundee United fans for going to this event.
Fair
And
play to Jim Goodwood, but
aye, 100%. He called them out on it. That was great to see. And then you look at Scott Brown. He was offered a chance to bring out the trophy last season, but didn't want to because he didn't want to take the shine off the team and Postecoglou. So the opportunity's been there for him to do it. Maybe last night was the perfect venue to do it. But moving on to kind of the weekend's game, leaving all that stuff behind, Rangers have kicked off a trend. Stephen Robinson, quick to the mask here, showing his true colours. We're not giving Celtic a guard of honour. Not that I'm too fussed about it, right? But it just shows you what other clubs are really thinking in these types of circumstances, that they maybe thought they were obliged to give the guard of honour, but watching Rangers not do it, they're like, we don't have to either. Maybe it's going to stop now. I don't really care for it, but at least have balls to start it. Do you know what I mean? Have balls to fucking not do it in the past and all that type of shit when clubs like that have done it. Robinson confirmed they're not doing it. How do you think this weekend's going to go? Do you think it's going to be? I mean, the last couple of games haven't been added. It seems like we're saying that a lot recently. But I kind of have a feeling it's going to be a bit of a party atmosphere. Maybe like a end of season type game. Players kind of playing with no pressure, more freedom. Maybe we'll see new players come in again. Kind of youngsters maybe get a chance. And I'm quite excited to see that. But where do you think it's going to go? How do you think it's going to end up?
I'll start with Gardner. I hope it's a trend that Kerry stops, because it must be embarrassing as a professional footballer clapping a player on it. Come on. Like, they've been scudded after them during the season, then we have to clap them at the park. I appreciate it's a tradition, but I am more than happy if it goes away. No arse either way. I'm like you, Stephen. No arse either way about Guardiola. Even when players are going up to pick a winning trophy and folk are giving them a Guardiola, that in the bin team, man. That, like, you've just been beating a major final and you want to clap players up. No, maybe stand there and watch them lift the trophy and not necessarily clap, but watch it, because it can probably work as a sort of a positive, saying you didn't want to see that again. Exactly, but I think I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, Steve, because I'm going along with my dad and that. I managed to get his hospitality.
So actually, do you know what you can do? Do you know what you can do? Talk me through the itinerary. What is it you're getting in this hospitality section?
Okay. Right,
he's got it on his phone. He's got it on his phone.
Because the ticket got sent to my phone, mate. But I had to download the Celtic VIP app.
There's a what? A Celtic VIP? I didn't even know this.
So I'm in the McGrain suite, the one that opens before everybody else. So 12 o'clock start, champagne reception. Lunch is served between 12 at 12:15. Then I proceed to my seat, kick off, half-time snacks, tea and coffee. Second half, full time, then the bar closes at 6. All expenses paid by Adidas.
How did you wangle this?
My good friend Andy Coulter owns Golf Poser. So anybody that wants your golf apparel, I know we probably shouldn't be sponsoring love to somebody else, but get heading along to him for your golf apparel. But I do a lot of his electrical work for him. So he done as a wee favour. Just out the blue, I never asked for it. He just sent me a message saying that he could sort me out with some hospitality for me and my old man. So he's been kind.
Incredible.
Spoke to some guys at Adidas and got that sorted out for me this weekend. So I buzzing for that. So I think it'll be a totally different performance for how we have been, Stephen, because it's our first game back at Parkhead since being crowned champion. So I think there'll be a lot of players up for it. We'll get into the team. Well, I actually think the team will go back to maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, put on a really dominant performance. I think it'll be a nice, comfy, really comfy winning. A few goals, I think a few goals.
So do I. I think it'll be like a carnival atmosphere. I think Patrick McLaughlin nailed it. We've got 60,000 fans for the guard of honour. Fuck the rest of them. We don't need the rest of them.
Exactly.
And then, see, to be fair, like, fair play to you, man, getting that. That sounds a really good day. And I hope you enjoy it with your dad and stuff.
Really looking forward to it.
Get steaming, mate. Unbelievable. But I mean, looking at it for me, my team lineup would be Hart, Ralston, Starfelt, Kobayashi, Taylor. Midfield would be Kalmak, Iwata, and O'Reilly. Up front for me would be Jada, Kyogo, and Mieta. What would you go for?
In a way, I would like to go with the team against Rangers, just to maybe say, right, here you go, pressure's off again. Go and prove to me that last week was a bad day at the office. Give them another chance.
Yeah.
But I just personally don't see it. I think I'm pretty much the same team as you, Stephen. I think it'll be Joe Hart, Ralston obviously, and Cozy Johnson, Starfelt. I think Kobayashi will keep his place. We'll just, again, obviously, Carter Vickers is injured, but I just think he'll allow him to try and play through it and show that the games. I think he has played well in some other games. Taylor, I think, comes back in. I think Hatate will keep his position with Callum McGregor and O'Reilly, because O'Reilly's been playing. It was another one I thought played all right at Ibrox. I think he's playing okay. And
Seen a lot of people saying they don't mind if he leaves, which I don't.
I'll be honest. I think we should be improving in him too. But
that's
for closer in the summer.
Fair enough. But
that's for closer in the summer. Who I think that if we had to pick 3 or 4 players, who I would upgrade on, he would be one of them. Right, out in the right, I think we go Jota, Maeda out in the left, and Kai will go through the middle.
Yeah. Score prediction?
I'm going about 5-0, mate.
Aye. I think it'd be like that type of game. That's not to be disrespectful to St Mirren. I don't know what they have to play for. I don't think they're getting into European spots. So I think if we get the early goal, I think we'll coast through the game and get a few more. In terms of the podcast, Franny, Deadly Joe back again. Have you enjoyed it?
It's been good. It's been good. Just it's a wee bit more therapy for last Saturday, Stephen. But it's good to finally get that out of our system and then look forward to picking up the league trophy in a couple of weeks in.
And your comfy padded seat tomorrow.
Comfy padded seat. Nabbed in front of me, nabbed behind me.
Unbelievable. And I hope you really enjoy it with your dad and stuff.
I'm looking forward to it.
And everyone in the comments, thanks for sticking with us and getting involved again. We'll be back Monday for the new time of 8:30. So until then, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.